For 6 or 7 years, we had about 600 primary school-aged boys and girls. We had our own school, our own clinic, farm. We had cattle and, of course, raised crops.
Al, who will always be remembered for his limitless energy and devotion to the children, died in a traffic accident in 1979. La Coleman was an ideal place to develop Father Wasson's philosophy of being one family and sharing responsibility. The older children help teach and look after the younger ones, and all share the duties of the home: laundry, house cleaning, working in the kitchen, tending to the farm, and other chores that contribute to the welfare of the family. The experience builds trust and confidence and gives the children a sense of pride and ownership in their family. Raising a large family of children would have been difficult were it not for the help and support of a dedicated community of nuns.
When we were out in Coleman during those years, Father Wasson was fortunate enough to meet some sisters out of the Seattle area, and these were nursing sisters. And so he asked the Mother Superior to let 2 of the sisters come down and start a clinic for the children out in Coleman. And we were fortunate enough to have Sister Fidelis and Sister Philomena join Alfredo and myself out in Coleman. And they set up our clinic there and worked with us for in Coleman, then here in Cuernavaca for 13 years. Also, Sister Phyllis Kelleher joined us at that time. Sister Philomena right now is still working for us in Haiti, and Sister Phyllis is with us in Nicaragua. There were a wonderful, wonderful help to have those women with us.
In 1970, a group of women in Mexico City formed the Women's Auxiliary of NPH with the purpose of aiding the children at Coleman. Louise Stanton Wadsworth, one of the founding members, was involved in the Three Kings Day celebration the auxiliary started for the pequeños.
In Mexico and most of Central America, kids don't receive gifts on Christmas, but rather on the Feast of Three Kings, which is January 6th.
Throughout the year, auxiliary members collected gifts to assure that every child received a bag of gifts when they awoke on the morning of January 6th. Also in 1970, a board of advisors of supporters from Mexico, Canada, and the United States was formed. Arlene Kita, a New York public relations executive and long-standing member of the board, remembers some of the early members whose insight and ideas contributed greatly to the success of NPH. People like Paul Willis, Ted Vonderay, John and Nancy Lusk, and Marge Adair. All served vital roles and made significant contributions to the dramatic growth of NPH that was to come. Father Wasson's work appealed to many others who became friends. Anne Arnold, who worked for the United States Embassy in Mexico City, opened her heart and home to the children and volunteers. She continues to be a passionate advocate for NPH. Celebrities like John Wayne and Raquel Welch were also attracted to and supported Father Wasson's mission. Helen Hayes, who had a home in Cuernavaca, was instrumental in getting funds contributed for the construction of the NPH High School in Cuernavaca.
Another friend was Mr. Rogers, and he too just loved Father. They began both at the same time, you know. And he, like Father, a Pied Piper to children, and always seeing the good in children, always the good. No matter what they were on the outside, on the inside, there was this tremendous good, incredible potential.
NPH faced a major challenge and opportunity with the purchase of Hacienda San Salvador in Miacatlan.
When Father Wasson acquired the old hacienda in Miacatlan, it was in great disrepair. He acquired it with the help of funding from some of his close friends and some major donors. At that time, we moved a small group of our older boys out there to establish occupancy, and for them to start minor repairs in order to make it livable for the children who were going to be moving out there from Acolman and from Cuernavaca. That took approximately a year or more to put the hacienda in livable condition. And then we moved out in the late 1970s, about 1977, 78, we all moved to Miacatlan.
Today, the remarkable transformation of the old sugarcane plantation is a tribute to the dedicated work of the Pequeños, volunteers, staff members, and the hundreds of sponsors and benefactors who lived and shared Father Wasson's vision. Miacatlan's 200 acres of arable land made possible the expansion of Father Wasson's plan to produce food for the children from their own land. Ewald Lammerding, a retired Canadian farmer and friend of NPH, volunteered his time and expertise to make the farm more efficient and productive. He implemented a feeding program for the livestock operation that dramatically increased pig production.
When we came, I would say we had about a dozen pigs. We had about maybe 6 cows there. And the feeding program they had was just, it didn't work. Like, it took about 9 months to get a fat pig out of it. So we changed that pretty quick. Said we have to buy feed. There's no other way around it. And then we just have to do it do it right. And then over the years, we did build up. And right now, there's probably, I would say, 300 pigs at any given day.
The growing of pigs and beef and laying hens, that has been developed through the years. We have been able now to have enough eggs for the children, enough pork meat, and even fish. There is an old project that Diana Papulias, a former volunteer, started. And I mean, has been there forever, almost since the beginning, And at least we are able to give our children fish for every month.
Although the farm's yield is not sufficient to feed nearly 1,000 children 3 meals a day, it does make a significant contribution to the food budget. Just as it was in the beginning, when a child is in jeopardy, Father Wasson is compelled to intervene.
They had a cyclone in Honduras, and so we went there and started taking children, and we found a house, we rented the house, and began there.
Father Rick Frechette, who had been helping NPH with the distribution of surplus U.S. food in Mexico, joined Reinhard Kohler, a former volunteer from Germany, to start a new home in Honduras.
So starting, it was a wonderful time. It was a pioneer time. There's certainly, comfort wasn't the first priority. We slept in big rooms. We didn't have water. We didn't have electricity, those kind of things. But, we got things going. We're excited about the project. Later on...
From its bare beginning in 1986, in a little village nestled among the hills of the Honduras countryside, Rancho Santa Fe is now a thriving family of almost 600 boys and girls.
The resilience of our children to want to live, the desire to live, the desire to be happy is just so wonderful and it's so strong. And it's something so great to work with, that once they come to us and they feel the sense of security, they can realize the opportunities they have.